hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'll write the notes so that way we can compare later.
For sure.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:02. We have one addition to the agenda, 5B, Canada Heritage. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Okay, if none, I need a motion to adopt the Monday, May 4th regular meeting of council as amended. Marilyn?
Sure. Can you see me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we're waiting for our delegates. So while we're waiting for Peter to join us, let's go on to our minutes for a regular meeting of council, April 20th. Any amendments? Thank you, Chris. Any errors, omissions? If none, I just need a motion to adopt our regular meeting of council, April 20th, 2020.
I'll make the motion, Linda.
Linda, thank you. All in favor?
Yep. Yes.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, external minutes. We have Canadian Badlands from June 30th. And we've got 3 minutes from them, so we'll just include them all. So January 30th, February 20th, and March 6th. Any questions, comments on any of that?
No.
Just letting you know that we are, our strategic plan is not due yet, but we are working diligently on it. Of course, it's a little trickier now that we're having to meet online and via teleconference, but we are working on what does the Canadian Badlands look like and what's its mission and vision for the future. And if you recall that we're gonna start, I think it's in one of the minutes here as well. I made the motion that we're gonna start doing quarterly meetings and they're gonna move around. Vauxhall is supposed to be September 2nd, or in September, sorry, we're the second one. But because our first meeting isn't gonna be able to happen, ours is gonna get postponed. So they're gonna keep the, I can't remember who's the first one that we were supposed to go meet at, but we're gonna postpone and start right from the beginning. So we might not have ours till the new year now, but it is still scheduled.
That's good.
Okay, any questions on Canadian Badlands that I could answer for you? Okay, next is Taber District Housing. There's a February 27th and a March 27th. Linda, anything to add on the minutes for us?
No, they're all good. They had a couple people in one of the Harmony home
Oh, yeah.
that have the COVID,
Oh, yes.
and Clearview Lodge is all clear.
Good.
There was one patient that was taken home by their relatives,
Okay.
and for them to come back, to bring her back, they have to wait 14 days.
Yes. Okay. That makes,
That makes
And-
sense?
yeah. And the person that did test positive, how are they doing? Do you have any updates?
No, I haven't heard any more about them.
Okay. So hopefully they're getting better.
Yes, they're getting their treatments, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, what they have to do, right?
Yeah. Any questions for Linda for the Taber and Housing Foundation? Taber and District Housing Foundation. There we
Yeah,
go.
district.
Okay, if none, the next is the Vauxhall District Chamber of Commerce Board. Ray, you're on that. Anything you'd like to point out?
Just that they're looking at a storefront operation.
Yes.
Currently, they're thinking, well, a motion was passed at the last meeting to pursue the part of the Tabor newspaper office.
Oh, the Vauxhall Advance, yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that it include the internet in there, so that's
So
some
if
safe.
if that goes ahead, it'll be July 1st.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah, they need someplace where they can meet with potential businesses instead of the seat of a car or something like that. So,
right,
Yeah.
or their home.
okay. No, that
So that-
sounds good. And the rent was basically in exchange for advertising, I believe is what I read.
Yes, that's part of it. They're also looking at sharing the space with the Ag Society,
Oh, cool.
sharing the rent. Yeah, so
Wonderful,
it looks like it could be a no cost item for them.
right?
Just the advertising costs,
Yeah,
which is pretty reasonable.
definitely. No, that's wonderful. And then that'll help them to get advertisements out there. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know Dana and I are in contact, and I've got to email her tomorrow. Today I was busy on the government websites all day, so I didn't get a chance, but we're gonna network between the three chambers, Tabor, Brooks, and Vauxhall, and trying to share resources that we've have. So I'll get out a video that I created for the wage subsidy, so she can share that out to the local businesses, and from Tabor is going to share some stuff as well. So
Okay.
perfect. All right, any questions for Ray?
No.
Okay, if none, I'm looking for a motion to receive all our external minutes for information.
Richard.
Richard? Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, opposed? Okay, motion is carried. All right, new business. So Chris, this would be you, the sanitary four main and outfall bypass.
I had MP look into this project and then recalculate some numbers. I did have a brief visit with Jody today, Jody Patron, who's replaced Doug Mickey since his medical issue. And she assured me the cost difference. As I remember bringing this back to council a couple years ago, it was a 1.2 million project. Now it's a 1.2
Right.
million project. And costs were worst case scenario is what she's giving me. The cost changes. So doesn't mean it's going to be the actual, but this is the worst case scenario. That's why we have such a high cost here, 1.7 million. At least want it brought back to council to be aware of if so project you want to get on with now, or at least be in everybody's back of their mind, and then go from there.
And Chris, did you want to just give a little bit of background information as to what you're looking at doing with this project? I did have some questions on the weekend, but I'm not sure if I explained it properly. So if you wouldn't mind.
Show on this map here.
Yeah.
Okay. So the force main is complete from this point here up to where the shack is, or not shack, power plug-in for the derby grounds is. So this is all installed, all paved under, that's complete. What has to be finished is from here to the lift station and the upgrades to the lift station, as well as the outfall lines. I believe there's this much more is force main and the rest is gravity main. So they have to finish this force main section, and then gravity from here on. They did have a talk with Jody about where we could start the gravity feed, because there's a question from a council member earlier. And this was the solution they came up with in the past. They didn't dig into it anymore, but from Doug Mickey's perspective, this was what our best option was at the time back when this project was started. And I did share with Jody our easement. We have an easement that allows this sewer trunk to be going through this property here.
Staying at home if you're feeling sick, limiting travel to what's essential travel. Trying to keep a few things.
What happened is we could possibly work within this easement, and then maybe cut some costs without having to start a new easement or right of way going this way, that section to the west and the north. So she was gonna look into that. I wasn't able to get that to her till later this afternoon, so I didn't get anything back from her so far today.
Fell into this because are not just because we're reopening this, we're at the end.
Any other questions?
Small percentage of Albertans have actually been infected by COVID-19, meaning that until there is a
Getting
vaccine
some background sound from somewhere.
Yeah, where's that coming from?
spread to our population, people will continue to get sick from it, and sadly, people will continue to pass away. And so we will not pass the pandemic. We are just
Do you have any other questions?
So
I
what are
guess-
people, oh, go ahead, Richard.
I was just gonna say that I guess the most fundamental question is, what's the risk of not completing this project?
Not completing the project risk, well, we will need to do an upgrade in the lift station sometime in the future. But the risk is these properties from the pointer here, along here, as well as these properties here will all possibly
Will they have sewer backups?
Pardon?
Will they have sewer backups?
It's possible they could experience sewer backup, yeah.
Okay.
When the lagoon surcharge here a couple years back, these properties were affected. Almost all these properties were affected.
And what caused them to be affected?
Undersized line from this point on was a big part of it. Build-up as well, but remember we had a really big rain here a couple of years back, maybe
Yeah.
10 years ago or so. That's what caused it all. A lot of groundwater problems, and the rain just didn't stop, and that didn't help our system catch up.
So it was sump pumps into the sanitary system then? Would that be the reason? Because I mean, rain itself isn't going to cause trouble. Is that what happened?
Yeah, some pumps mixed with groundwater seepage into the piping, the infiltration, as well as just rain overland flooding out of lagoons.
Is there weeping tile in Vauxhall? And is it connected to this? Sorry?
Yes, there are weeping tile in some locations, yes.
And is it connected to the sanitary sewer?
I believe a lot of them are, yes.
Yeah. Is there any part of the water, like the old water study that was done, is there any part of that that could be used as well if we?
The old water study does talk about this section of pipe here. It was also recommended by the engineers a couple of years back to twin this pipe out of town, topside it. We upsize it and twin it, so we just use the current pipe until it's too old to use, decommission it, and just use the newer upsized pipe as a twin line.
All of the town sewage is leaving through that line right now. Is that correct?
That's correct. All the town sewage meets at this location. All the town sewage west of the office meets here, and then all this sewage here is all gravity force or gravity fed, and it all meets up at this location and is gravity fed out to the lagoon system.
So the reason for this study was initially a stormwater management problem that occurred and overloaded the sewer system.
The study was performed back in 2006 by the council at the time to check water questions like low water volumes, low water flows, as well as the sewage issue in the future. This one sewage issue was noted back then. We've had some repairs done because of that study. I can't remember the exact date, but this was updated, this was put in at that time, right here, this section. And since we haven't had a high water seasons or any flooding since, we've been okay. I did notice when I was foreman at the time that the sewer flushers were not going past this location. Since then, I've had them go from this location all the way to the lagoon. There was sand built up in here, but they also, the engineers did say there's undersized pipe from here to the lagoon. I think that may have helped, but it doesn't mean it would have prevented that issue at all.
And then Chris, how are we looking to fund this? Some of this is through MSI and some of this is going to be through a debenture. Is that correct?
That's what Wendy's suggesting, yes. And she figures a long-term project should be through a debenture. It's still council's call if you want to go forward with it. I don't know what the years are, the future of what years are going to be like. I'm not sure where we're at. I haven't had my almanac to check.
Can we phase this?
Pardon?
Can we do this in stages?
Yeah, we've got the one phase in so far. That's just the first section of Force Main. This here is a phase alone is quite an expensive phase. And then the other sections, I believe they have it up here as phases. I can try and zoom in a bit. So they have lift station section, a very, so this section here, so you got a 526,000 just for the section, just upgrading the lift station. And the remainder of the Force Main, another 232,000. And to do the gravity section, 356,000. So leaves us a total of 1.726 million. Depending on what phases you want to do. Like I can talk to the engineers and see what phases can be done, and what sections. I do know I'm talking with Richard and the BRD, not to throw them on the bus, sorry, but the BRD have options that are much lower cost. I did reference that to our engineer, and that's when she explained to me the install of the gravity section was their pricing is worst case scenario. So it all depends if we can secure prices and the contractor. Under the assumption that there'll be some contractors looking for some work, so prices will be low. But she was on the opposite side of that. Well, contractors are looking for work. They might sharpen their pencils, but this is where we're at.
Chris, any downfall to doing it in phases? Would that change any of the costs, or it should stay about the same?
Depending on the time frame between stages. Yeah. Okay. I would assume, I have my suggestion, not because I would think it's urgent, but the section of the lift station, it's all mostly mechanical, pumps, electrical. Those costs I don't believe will stay stagnant as long as the piping and the underground work.
No, they usually jump up.
Yeah, and you can see this one generator for $150,000.
Yeah.
I was talking with the electrical engineer, not an engineer, an electrician here a while back to replace the one we have, and that was closer to $30,000. So I think the number's higher here, but in that same breath, we have 2 pumps currently, and the new generator is going to run 3 pumps, but that generator also runs the town office over and above the lift station. So it's also the backup generator for the town office. But I think we could get much lower price on that.
If we're going to open up streets and dig up pavement, we probably should take a look at doing the water at the same time where it applies.
Could you flip back down to the plan view of this?
Pardon?
Could you scroll back down to the plan view?
Yep. The only section we'd have to dig up is right here in front of the town office. Everything else is under pavement now, right here.
Yeah.
And this section was be going through the field, the Derby field, right? This would be pulled under, and then so there'd be no disruption of pavement.
Okay,
other than from the town office.
yeah, so there's no water lines involved in that.
No.
So the existing system, again, there's a lift station right at the town office.
Yeah.
Is it pumped under pressure for any distance, or is it simply lifting it and running by gravity from there out?
It's pumped from pressure just to this manhole
Okay.
and gravity fed the rest of the way.
Yeah, and that goes back to my question earlier, Chris, which is, I mean, if it all runs downhill by gravity there, I was questioning, does it really need to be, you know, a force main if you go the alternate route, because the start and end points are the same and it runs by gravity right now. So that's what I was questioning. But again, I guess if you've got to have a lift station, you've still got the expense of the pumps to lift it, whether you're pumping under pressure or just dumping it in to run by gravity.
What do you think? Could I ask the engineers upsize from this manhole out?
Well, that's a lot of road work, and then that gets crazy expensive, of course, when you're ripping up all the pavement. Again, the preferred one would be to run north, I would suppose. Again, that first piece of pipe is sized based on running under pressure. I mean, maybe we're stuck with it, but I know as I was looking at the cost, it just seemed to be quite conservative, I would hope. Again, I'm no expert on lift stations, but you know, the price of purchasing and installing, 10 and 12 inch pipe seemed extremely conservative in those estimates.
Any other questions for Chris?
So where do we go from here?
Well, we have to make a decision here.
Well, we
Leave
don't
it,
have the,
I would suggest we leave it for now and then have Wendy bring us the numbers, where the money and the funding should come from, and then come back to another council meeting after for that. Sorry.
yeah, okay.
Perfect.
I think one other thing that really should be seriously looked at, because it seems to me the whole issue was related, and again, it was one of those few years where we had some, rain after rain after rain. And, it had to be the fact that we're getting rainwater into the sanitary system. And I would suggest it's probably not leaking into pipes, because if leaked in, it'd be leaking out too. I'm thinking it's weeping tile that's tied directly to the sanitary system and sump pumps pumping into the sanitary system. And, getting rid of that on a house by house basis, you could probably be done for a fraction of the cost that we're talking to upgrade this sanitary system to really function as a combined system when it shouldn't be. It's an expensive way to address a kind of ridiculous problem.
I know there's some older homes that have weeping tile, and I'm under the understanding that the weeping tile is directly connected to the sewer system before codes were introduced or codes were enforced. We do have some newer homes that were built in town that have enforcement on the code that any weeping tile system has to be hooked to a pump, and then it's pumped to the ground, street, or their grass.
Is there some place upstream of the overland flow where a storm pond could be built to collect the water and intercept it before it gets into town and minimize the infiltration that Richard's talking about?
Don't know about that. There was never a study on that, but the groundwater that caused the flooding was directly from in.
I can't hear you.
Sorry, say that I don't know about a study about that, but the groundwater that directly affected the community members during this event was all in town from everybody's yard collective.
But again, it was sanitary sewer backup was the problem. That's why we had all those residents with all of their stuff from the basements out piled in the streets, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, but that backup was caused by, like I said, water going in through the weeping tile system or
Exactly.
sump pumps. Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that they're pumping, water that's getting into the weeping tile into the sanitary system where it does not belong.
Right. And if there could be some way of intercepting that water before it gets into town, it would minimize the amount of pressure on the sanitary sewer system.
Well, the issue though, it's the rain that's falling on everybody's lot that's infiltrating along their
Yes.
outside of their foundation into their weeping tile. So there's no place to intercept it. I mean, the thing to do is, probably go buy everybody a $30 downspout. I think they're actually $23 at co-op for a 10-foot piece. I just bought some recently, and put those in every house and get it away from, instead of the water off your roof running right down beside your basement wall.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But we had the same problem in Coaldale years and years ago. And storm ponds were built to intercept that water and to minimize the amount of seepage and amount of inflow into the sanitary sewer system.
I think the only solution to this that way would be to upgrade our stormwater collection, which would be digging up the streets, because they're fairly shallow, and then connecting houses to that as well. So that would be a different cost.
But again, the problem we were seeing was not one of the surface system for stormwater not handling it. It handled it quite well, as I recall. It was this business of overloading the sanitary system, which caused the backup. So we don't seem to really have a problem with our stormwater system. It's the sanitary system taking stormwater from the weeping tiles. That's the issue. I'm sure that's 99% of the issue.
It was a big part of it, yes.
All right, so are we good with this being brought back to our next meeting with a little bit more information?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then if you have any other questions or comments for Chris, you can always contact him during the week as well. All right, Canada Heritage, do you have that in there? Oh, perfect. So we received this letter today, and it's for our Canada Day celebrations. We use it for our fireworks. Because everything is getting postponed and we can still have our fireworks, but it's getting complicated with keeping it safe for everyone with the social distancing. So we either have to postpone the date, and it has to be by, where is it? Isn't it a March date? There it is. It has to be postponed and occur before March 31st, 2021, or we could just cancel our event and apply again for next year, and hopefully Canada Day celebrations can occur then. What's everyone's thoughts? So administration and myself are leaning towards canceling, just so that we can keep everyone safe, returning the grant, putting it back into the system and applying again for next year. Any discussion?
I can live with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
All right. Who would like to make the motion to cancel the Canada Day fireworks and return the Canada Heritage funds for this year?
I would make the motion.
Marilyn,
Yes.
do you want to add any other words to that motion?
No, I think you said it well.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of that motion?
Yeah.
All in
Yes.
favor?
Okay, any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, have we heard from Peter yet?
No, I haven't seen him try to log in.
I'll see if I can text him. Just give me 2 seconds.
No problem.
Okay, where are we at next? So information and correspondence items. So 6A, and that's what you have up there, Chris, thank you. So just kind of giving us an update on some of the things that the government's trying to do, and what AUMA is advocating for is minimizing red tape. So with the MSI, diversity in job creation and spread jobs across the province. And with the new and additional infrastructure stimulus funding will need to be a multi-year investment in Alberta's economy. It is recommended that the provincial government front load the funding in the year 2021 budget year and then cash flow the funds to municipalities for projects over the next 1 to 3 years. This will allow for municipal projects that require a few more months of design before they can be considered as shovel ready to be funded and proceed. So this is something that AUMA is always advocating for on behalf of especially small communities, is that many of us can't afford to have the projects all shovel ready because there's so much cost to get it there. So they're advocating that they give us some time to do that. And I think it was Richard who had mentioned that the kitchen renovations might fall onto this. So we'll be watching for this information coming forward and seeing if this is something we can do. Any questions, comments on that one?
Well, sanitary sewer upgrade would also be a good project.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
would be-
And we do have the
yes.
information. Yeah.
Definitely. Especially at that cost.
And then from Martin, 6B, so he has been in his office making phone calls and that, but things are definitely challenging. He can't go out and meet people anymore. You can sign up for his newsletter.
I did.
Perfect, wonderful. So
Yeah.
you'll get that. And then of course you can follow him on Facebook and Twitter as well. 6C, AUMA, just looking, nothing from Peter yet. 6C. Also, this is the physicians funding. And as you know, AUMA is has been advocating with RPAP for physicians and nurse practitioners. So this is just letting you know that we're still working with these groups.
I know my doctor moved and went to Lethbridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And he was in Tabor?
yes.
Okay.
They have a shortage of doctors now.
Yes. And then next we have the Chinook Arch board report.
I couldn't turn that.
Yeah, it's kind of on the side there.
That's okay. All right, any questions on our information and correspondence? If none, I need a motion to receive all for information.
Ray,
Okay, Ray, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. So I guess I've got nothing from Peter yet, so hopefully everything's okay on his end. So let's just go back to his information and we'll just take a look at it. So when this came out, it's a group effort. Does it say who's all involved? Economic Development Lethbridge, Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce, and Southborough. I hope I'm not missing one of the names in here. But they've gotten together for this whole economic task recovery. And apparently Vauxhall, our region, is in this as well, even though it is named Lethbridge. We are a part of this as well. So maybe what we'll do is we'll see if we can get a hold of Peter again, see if he's willing to meet again, or maybe even if he goes through a chamber meeting as well, just as long as he's getting the information out to everyone. Oh, that's much clearer than mine. Yeah, because I don't know a whole lot about it to speak on it.
Yeah, some slides, that's what he presented earlier, but it'd be nice
Yeah.
to speak on it for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can bring him back, and like I say, and if not us, then at least through the chamber, you know, as long as, you know, he can get the information to one of us, that'd be great. Any questions on this that you would like us to ask Peter about, and it can be a part of his presentation? Like, obviously right now everything's kind of up in the air. A few of the businesses are starting to look at opening up. I believe it's May 15th. There's a call right now on with some of the ministers for salons and retails and chiropractors that are going to be looking at opening up on the 14th. Sorry, what was that?
I said, definitely, we all need a haircut.
Yeah.
There you go. So the call is on right now, and some of what I know they're discussing is just having the protective equipment and making sure that they know what all the rules are that they need to follow. Because of course, if this first phase does not go well, and people test positive and the results go higher again, we're going to have to go back to what we have been doing. So they're trying to make sure all the business owners are trained and know what they're supposed to be doing to try and make this first phase successful. Well, maybe we'll just get a motion to receive the information in our package about the, what is it called? Sorry, Economic Recovery Task Force. Maybe we'll just get that information, just a motion to receive for information for now, and we'll see if we can get a hold of Peter and get him to present it again.
I'll make that motion, Kim.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. And did I miss anything, Mindy? Am I all good?
You're good.
All right, well then, if there's nothing else, nope. All right, we will adjourn at 6:40 p.m. Sorry it was such a short agenda, but middle of the month, we know we'll have more, and possibly RCMP and South Grove as our delegates. All right, well, everyone stay safe and have a good evening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
You too, Margaret.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
See you guys.
See ya.